Good evening, everybody. MG here, MG Covers, bringing you a brand new handicapping video. Title of this video is March Madness 2021 Sports Betting Preview. Super excited to bring you this video. As always, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, if you want to know the unadulterated truth about sports betting, you are at the right place. If you want to learn about sports betting, I have a ton of videos on my channel. And if you want to follow me on social media, I give out a ton of content on Instagram, Twitter. My screen name there is MG Covers, cover spelled with a Z. So this is going to probably be a long video, but we're going to preview every single game for the NCAA tournament first round. You're going to see my actual lines for all of these games, which is really cool. And the screen you're looking at right here, this shows that you're going to get the same lines that I've used, the same stat model I've used to have a really, really good year. This is what you're looking at here. This is a screen from sportswatchmonitor.com. It's my monitoring service, which means I have to send them my plays before the game is started. And then, of course, after the game, they grade the wager, and the whole public can see this. And we are fourth best handicapper at Sports Watch Monitor for college basketball out of 43 handicappers. Hoops combo, which is NBA and college basketball combined, we are third out of 70 handicappers. So we've had a really, really, really solid year. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it and take a look. Hopefully I've got everything organized. I've kind of gotten used to StreamYard here. All right, so let's take a look at what you're looking at here. This is, let me make sure this is showing up. Yep. These are my lines for the NCAA basketball tournament. And I want to talk about my lines briefly. Now, when you see some of these lines, especially if this is your first time, these are lines for my stat model. Now, what I mean by that is I have my stat model that is 100% statistically driven, no bias factored in at all. And what I mean by that is I don't look at a line and go, well, you know, App State's probably the better team. I'll take away, you know, there's no bias factored into it. I don't do that. Whatever my stat model says, that's the line I use. I don't change anything at all. I don't alter it because it's a neutral. I don't add 2 points for home. Whatever the stat model is, that's what it is. Now, I'll go ahead and mention this now. What you'll see in a lot of these lines, the difficulty with my model or anybody's model, a lot of these teams have not played similar opponents. So the stat model is based on the most recent 5 games. So the SEC teams is going to be more than likely 5 SEC teams. If you've got a team playing in another small conference, it's going to be their last 5 stats against those 5 teams in their conference. So it's extremely difficult to have a really, really accurate line. That's why the handicap and NCAA tournament, I will tell you in advance, is difficult to do, but you can still find value and still be profitable. So let's take a look here. This first game, Norfolk State, we have them at -8. App State is 8. That's our line. If you look at the sportsbook line here, App State is the favorite at -3. Norfolk State is +3. So we're getting a little bit of value there. We take a look at the game itself. And what I do too is you'll see this, we go throughout this video. You want to look at form. Like you can see their App State, they've won their last 4 out of 5. Had a couple overtime games there, but that's good. They're in really good form. You look at Norfolk State, same deal there. Really, really good form. They've won 8 out of their last 10. And what I do too now, the stat model that I use, if you don't know this, is based on defensive stats. So you can see here, App State's defense, Norfolk State's defense, fairly close. No, I would give a little bit of edge to Norfolk's offense, even though I don't use offensive stats in my model. It's something that I handicap situationally. So definitely a potential play there in favor of App State. Next game, Drake, Wichita State. Have Wichita State -5 in my power rankings. Drake is at +5. You look at the line here. Wichita State -1.5, and also too, they are a non-public team as of right now. I'm at oddstrader.com getting 36% of the tickets, so this is definitely a positive here. And let's look, see what kind of form they're in. Okay, so you have Drake, lost to Louisiana. Loyola, Illinois. Also lost to Bradley, so not bad. Lost 2 of their last 3. Wichita State, of course, playing really good. They're in excellent form. Lost to Cincinnati. That was a close one in the was that the championship game? Yeah, I think it was. And their only other loss, if you look down there, was Memphis. And one thing to note about Wichita State, especially when you get in these conference tournaments, you want to look at quality of wins, which is one of the reasons why they're in the tournament. Look there on February 18th. They beat Houston. That is a very, very, very huge, a good win for Wichita State. South Florida, Temple, Tulane, but, got blown out by Memphis, but definitely a quality win for Houston there. So I would say that's definitely a game that I will cap and definitely be a potential play in favor of Wichita State. And I think too, when you look at a team like Drake, Wichita State had to play Memphis. They've had to play Central Florida, had to play Houston and won Cincinnati. And you look, the level of competition, Drake's competition, this is a very, very important situational angle to handicap when you're handicapping this tournament. Drake has not played the caliber of teams Wichita State has favored. So strength of schedule, if you want to call it that, would favor Wichita State. Okay, next game, we look at Mount St. Mary's, Texas Southern. We have even, and the sportsbook line is about that, same. Mount St. Mary's is -1, Texas Southern +1, so not a lot of value there. So we really won't take a look at that one. That's basically sportsbook saying, hey, we're not sure who the winner is going to be, or there's not really a favorite. Those aren't, quote, popular public teams per se, so not really much value there for us as well. Okay, here's a big one here. UCLA, Michigan State. UCLA falling apart here lately. And Michigan State's starting to play a lot better here towards the end of the season. Michigan State, our line is -6. UCLA is +6. We look at the sportsbook line, and we have Michigan State -2. They are a public team. Looks like this line opened at -1, so you do have some money definitely in favor of Michigan State, bumping that up to 2. Some of these books here have already bumped it to 2.5. And when I show you this, you'll see why. You can see Michigan State. Boom, boom, boom. And also, too, you'll see over here, I'm at covers.com. This is, their away record, their home record, and their neutral record. Most of these teams, especially this year, they didn't play enough neutral games to really put any stock into this at all. You see where UCLA was 1-2 on a neutral court. Usually, during a non-COVID season, they would have a lot more, because usually in the opening of season, November, there's December, there's a lot of tournaments, and they play on neutral sites. So it's just not a big enough sample to really say yay or nay. And a neutral court, I don't really think you'd find an advantage in there. So you can see here, UCLA lost their last 4 games. Now, granted, they were decent opponents. UCLA, probably the weakest of those teams, lost to Oregon, lost to Colorado, did take Oregon State to overtime, but lost there. So I would say form-wise, this is definitely going to favor Michigan State a tad, although Michigan State lost to Maryland, also lost to Michigan, but also beat Michigan back on March the 7th. So, probably would say this would favor Michigan State. And two, one thing too, Izzo is a coach for Michigan State. I do think you have to factor in coaching just a little bit. Mick Cronin was at Cincinnati for years. He's at UCLA. Decent coach. This isn't his first time in the tournament, but you got to favor a team like Izzo or favor coaching per se, just one of those situational angles. So in this one, I would say, hey, Michigan State has better form, had the better coach. So definitely an advantage for Michigan State in that one. Hartford, Baylor. Again, you see some of these lines look crazy and you say, man, you've got Hartford favored again. If I was to change the line, even though I know that's probably an unrealistic line, what would I change the line to? Whatever I change it to, then I'm automatically bringing bias into that line. So when I look at a game like this, it would simply be a no play for me. We have Hartford at -11. That's because Hartford's played real well against opponents in their division. Let's see if we can scroll down where we can see this. Have we already gone into the next day here? Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. Yeah, Hartford, Baylor. Baylor's going to be heavy favorites. They're -26, and would not be surprised to see Baylor cover that. But obviously, the public's way on Baylor at 75%. Still, man, that's a lot of points. It would be a no play for me. If you absolutely made me play it, I would definitely lean towards Hartford in that one. All right, let's move along. Wisconsin, North Carolina. We have North Carolina -3 in this one. Actual sportsbook line is North Carolina -1.5. So a little bit of value in favor of North Carolina here. It looks like we got to skip the page here now. Okay, Wisconsin, definitely not in good form. Did beat Penn State, nothing to cheer about there. Lost to Iowa, fairly competitive on both of those games. Lost to Purdue, lost to Illinois. Not really a bad loss there. So they've only won, 3 of their last 10. So definitely not in good form. North Carolina has definitely improved, no doubt about it. Really, really, really close game. Florida State beat Virginia Tech, a win over Duke, Notre Dame, complete blowout of Notre Dame. Lost a close one to Syracuse, and then, of course, did beat Florida State 78-70. So you would definitely favor North Carolina as far as form there, and then plus we're getting a little bit of value there via our power rankings as well. All right, next game, Winthrop and Villanova. I am super, super excited about this game. Let's see if we can find. Sorry, these lines. I don't know how everything got kind of okay. Winthrop is +6.5. Public is already on Winthrop here. Really good team. 23-1. Villanova, 18th ranked team in the country, coming in at 16-6. They are -6. So we have some value on Winthrop. Now, this is really important, and we're going to talk about upsets in the NCAA tournament. When you see an upset in an NCAA tournament, more times than not, it will be from a team that shoots the ball extremely well. Reason being, some of these, if you remember years ago with Steph Curry and Davidson made their run, again, more times than not, when you see a big upset, it will be generally by a team that can shoot the ball very well. And a lot of these smaller teams, say like a Winthrop, their whole premise and how they recruit, obviously they're not going to be able to recruit these 6'8" bigs that are 260 pounds. They go after these smaller kids that can shoot. And here's the dangerous part about this game, or any game that fits this scenario. When you have a team that can shoot the ball really well, if Winthrop comes out and they shoot 50% from field goals, they shoot, say, 48% from the three, got a damn good chance of upsetting Villanova. Because if a team's shooting the ball well, I mean, they're just on. They can, you guys have seen this many times before. I've talked about this, and sometimes you'll have teams shoot some crazy number, 55% from, 3 points, 52% from field goal, and it's very difficult to beat a team like that. And again, the Winthrop's not just an offensive team. I'm going to show you this. They're a very, very good defensive team. take a look at this too. If you scroll down here, yeah, Winthrop's only lost one game. And that was I mean, they've had some close ones in here. And this is definitely a step up in competition, playing Villanova. Villanova struggled here lately. Of course, lost to Georgetown, lost to Providence, did beat Creighton, had a loss to Butler. So not in great form coming into this, but I want you to look at this. Both offenses are pretty good. 75 points average for Villanova, 79 for Winthrop. But look at Winthrop's defense, only giving up 66 points a game. So they're definitely, if you're just looking at statistics, these teams are pretty even. We obviously, our power rankings favor Winthrop in this one. So this is definitely a game to look at. It's one of those games. It's not going to sneak by the public because you can see the public's already on this game right here, 6.5. But this might be one to definitely take a chance at playing on the money line. Let's see what our money line is. It's probably going to be 180, 200, somewhere in there. Wow, 225. So that might be definitely worth a play there with Winthrop on the money line. And if you're filling out your bracket, Winthrop might be a good one to sneak through on this one too. So a lot of situational angles in favor of Winthrop in this one. And Kelsey, coach for Winthrop, is a very good coach. He's been to the tournament before, so this is not uncharted territory for him. Okay, let's move along here. We've got North Texas, Purdue. North Texas is -3. Purdue is +3. Interesting matchup here. You can see North Texas +7.5. Public's all over Purdue right now at -7. Another potential upset. We definitely have value in this one. And there we go. And I want to talk about this. Yeah, you can see here, lost to beat Western Kentucky overtime, beat Louisiana Tech, good team, Old Dominion. So they're in pretty decent form here. Had a couple tough losses to UAB, which is a really good team. Split with Marshall. They can score. Now, one thing too, if I'm going to explain, when a team is playing like this example, North Texas, obviously Purdue has played better competition than North Texas. It's the same concept that you'll see in horse racing or dog racing. If you're not familiar with it, I'll explain it briefly. Let's say a Class C horse wins a race. That horse will move up into B class. And many times from a handicapper's perspective, you would fade that horse moving up in class. Same thing in greyhound racing as well, because now, even though they won their race in the lower competition, it will be more difficult moving into facing a team that is basically just better competition. But still a little bit of value there with North Texas possibly. That might be one there that you might consider taking the points there, considering you're getting so many points. All right, Utah State, Texas Tech. Utah State -9. Our power rankings. Let's see if we can find this one here. It is Texas Tech's favorite here, -4.5. Public's already on them. Line has moved. Looks like about what? Well, really haven't moved much. Utah State +5. Yeah, definitely like this one here. Let's take a look at form, see how they're performing coming into this. Oops, my bad. My bad. I think we moved 2 games over. There it is. Okay, Utah State lost to San Diego State. That was definitely a quality loss. San Diego State, of course, in the tournament, did have a nice win over Colorado State, blew them out. UNLV, Fresno State, not too impressive there. Texas Tech lost to Texas. They lost to Baylor. That's definitely not a bad win there. You can see down February 22nd, probably one of the hottest teams in college basketball, Oklahoma State, lost to them overtime. So that was a good quality loss. Same deal with Kansas. Same deal with West Virginia there. So, obviously Texas Tech has played, better quality opponents in Utah State. You kind of look at the stats. Both teams are very similar, averaging 73 points a game. Texas Tech defense, very similar. So, I would, considering what our power rankings have, -9, and we're getting, what are we getting here? +5. Yeah, definitely a game to potential play on the money line or even taking the points. All right, next one is Colgate and Arkansas. I was really surprised by the line in this one. Arkansas, not surprised at our line. Colgate -5. Our line, Arkansas, is +5. Colgate just dominates their competition. Let's take a look at this one here. Yeah, I don't know why these games got so out of order. Yeah, that line really surprised me. Colgate is +9. Arkansas is only a 9-point favorite. This is one where I think, Colgate has never played a team like Arkansas, and you can see they played Loyola, Maryland, beat Bucknell, blew them out. I think that's Boston University, Army. So they just have not played anybody. And Arkansas, really quality team, some really quality wins there. Lost to LSU, but of course beat LSU. Also blew out Alabama. So I would say this is a game to where I don't think we're giving enough attention and consideration to the fact that, Colgate is stepping up in competition here. Now they score a lot of points. Like I talked about, it's very similar to that Winthrop game, 86 points. Arkansas averages 82 as well. So this could be one of those that, I really could see Arkansas blowing Colgate out. I really could. Again, that's, that I'm factoring in bias is just what I think, but I'm basing that on the fact that Colgate hasn't played a quality opponent like Arkansas, and it's difficult to prepare for that if you haven't, played a team like that. All right, let's move along here. Virginia Tech, Florida. We have Florida -3, Virginia Tech +3. Let's see what our line is. Yeah, sports books have this one split, money split. I mean, it's basically an even game. Got Virginia Tech +1, Florida -1. What was our line again? So a little bit of value there with Florida. Let's take a deep dive into this one here. Yeah, Virginia Tech lost to North Carolina, beat Wake, lost to Georgia Tech, who of course won the ACC. That's probably a bad loss there to Miami. Lost to Pittsburgh. Did have a quality win over Virginia, 65-51. You look at Florida, not in great form either. Yeah, I think this would be a difficult game to cap. Got blown out there by Tennessee, beat Vanderbilt, lost to Tennessee again, lost to Mizzou. Did have a decent win against Auburn. Of course, lost to Arkansas. So, yeah, this one I think is a difficult one to cap. If I had to lean in any direction, I would always trust my power rankings, considering they've played similar opponents. You got an ACC opponent against an SEC opponent. Florida -3, even though that's not a huge amount of value, definitely would lean towards Florida in this one. And, of course, that line could change there. It opened up at +1. And so you do have some sharp money. That's important to note. So that opens at +1. Now it's moved to -1. and the tickets are even. So that definitely favors Florida there. Okay, what do we got next here? Oral Roberts and Ohio State. We have Oral Roberts -1, Ohio State +1. Probably a game I wouldn't touch at all. Let's see what the line is. Yeah, I can just look at the line off of this. Yeah, Ohio State's -16.5. Huge step up in competition for Oral Roberts. Let's see if they've played a good quality opponent. Not really. Seems like they played all these, North Dakota, South Dakota State, Western. I think that's Western Illinois there. Now, granted, Oral Roberts can score some points. You can see here they're averaging 81 points a game. But again, this is a huge step up in the competition. Would you lay what is that? 16 points. I mean, they're definitely capable of blowing out a team by 16 points, but probably a game that I would personally probably pass on. All right, moving along, we have Drexel, Illinois. Illinois is -4. Drexel is +4. And yeah, this is almost the same identical scenario. You have Drexel coming in at 12-7. Illinois, of course, is Illinois, one of the best teams in college basketball. And you can see here, Drexel's pretty good form again, but just haven't really played anybody. So this is another one of those you could definitely see a potential blowout. Illinois, just a really good basketball team. Yeah, 22 points, a lot of points. That's probably why you see the tickets split there. 47% of the tickets on Drexel, 53% on Illinois. I would think you would see a lot more money come in on Illinois at that number, just my opinion. All right, then we have Georgia Tech, Loyola, Chicago. This is an interesting game here. Hottest team in ACC right now, Georgia Tech. We have them at +9. We have Loyola Chicago at -9, a team not a lot of people know about, but they are a solid basketball team. Let's go look at this one here. 24-4 on the season. Granted, haven't played the competition Georgia Tech has, but good basketball team. They beat Drake, Indiana State. Not a lot of quality opponents, but a team that's won 9 out of the last 10 games is playing with a lot of confidence. Let's look at the numbers here. And of course, let's back up here to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech just got hot and won this thing, beat Florida State, Miami, Wake Forest, Duke. Also had a quality win over Syracuse. Lost to Clemson 72-74, another team in the NCAA tournament. So obviously, this is a step up in competition for you, Loyola Chicago. You can see here, one of the biggest things to note here is Loyola, Illinois plays some defense. They're only giving up 55 points a game. Georgia Tech is giving up 70. So that definitely favors Loyola, Illinois. That's probably why when you look at this line, the line has, I think they're favored. Yeah, they're favored 2.5. So that doesn't really surprise me at all. And I would probably, like I say, I would probably lean towards Loyola. I'm saying Loyola, Illinois. I think they're called Loyola. It has them listed Loyola, Illinois, but I think you say they are Loyola, Chicago. So I would think that would favor them in that one. Let's look at the next one. Oregon State and Tennessee. We have Tennessee -7. Oregon State just flat out got hot and just beat everybody and made their way into the tournament. Now, this is a prime example. We've all heard of the hangover scenario, hangover game, so to speak, and I think this definitely would qualify as that. Oregon State probably was not making the NCAA tournament had they not won their conference. And so, huge emotions there just to get there. They're just happy to get to the tournament. I think Tennessee has aspirations to make some noise in this tournament. Definitely want to get to the Sweet 16. And, of course, no value at all in this one. And I would definitely favor Tennessee here, considering our line is the same. Liberty, Oklahoma State. Liberty -2.5. I've said this before. Oklahoma State, most undervalued team in college basketball. I said that weeks ago before they were beating everybody. And the line is pretty pretty tight there. Oklahoma State only -7.5, and Liberty, again, one of these dangerous teams, averaging 74 points a game. Oklahoma State averaging 77. Liberty plays really good defense. You can see they're only giving up 59 points a game. Oklahoma State giving up 72. But again, this is just a huge step up in competition for Liberty. I think sometimes the public falls in love with that record of these teams and maybe just the upset factor. But I would definitely favor Oklahoma State here to cover, even though my power rankings have Oklahoma State, 2.5. I know why they're that way, because of the defense. Liberty has a really good defense, but of course, huge step up in competition. So if I had to play this one, I would definitely lean towards Oklahoma State in this one. Syracuse, 2.5. San Diego State. We have San Diego State at -2.5. Yeah, that's a tough game to cap there. Our line is very similar to Sportsbook's line, so that would probably definitely be a no play for me. Moving along to Morehead State, West Virginia. Same scenario here. Morehead State, really good defense. We have them at -3.5. Our power rankings. Virginia, the underdog, even though it's probably a game we would not play. Morehead State. I always check to see if they played a quality opponent. Sometimes you'll see they've played, maybe back in November, December. If it was a game, when I fully cap these games, I would check that. What I mean by that is I would go back to like non-conference days around November, December. And I don't think we had a November, did we? I think the college basketball started in December, right? Can't remember. Anyway, I would check their earlier schedule, see if they played a really good opponent. If it was somebody similar to an opponent West Virginia played, or even the same opponent, and see how well they did. But yeah, this would definitely favor West Virginia because this is a step up in class, even though you look form wise, even though these West Virginia lost 3 of the last 4, these were quality losses. Played Oklahoma State tight in both those games, took Baylor to overtime. West Virginia, Bob Huggins, yeah, definitely favors Huggins there to cover. Whoops. All right, where are we at, guys? My mouse is malfunctioning here. Okay. Rutgers, Clemson should be a tight one. We have Clemson -1.5. Rutgers is +1.5. Let's take a look, see what the line is. Yeah, right on. Same deal. Clemson's +1. So if I had to lean in one direction, I would definitely lean in the direction of Clemson. Lost to Miami. Had a bad loss to Syracuse, but do have some quality wins in there against North Carolina. Syracuse actually beat Georgia Tech. And Clemson is known for their defense. You can see here giving up 62 points a game. Rutgers giving up 68. So I would definitely lean in the direction of Clemson there and watch that line to see where it goes. See where the public was on that one. I would think. Wow. Looks like everybody's leaning towards Rutgers in that one. Yeah, I like Clemson in that matchup there, especially if that line would change some. Maybe if enough people play Rutgers, that line gets to 2, 2.5. Clemson might even be a really good play on the money line. Probably wouldn't get that high, but if it did. Cleveland State, Houston. I mean, I'm not even going to look at that one. We have Houston -7. What is the line there? It's probably going to be huge. That's probably going to be about 20. Let's see what it is here. Yeah, I said it was 20. Yeah, I mean, Houston's got a really good offense, really good defense. I mean, they're probably one of the best defensive teams. Huge step up in class for Cleveland State. If I had to play that one, I would lean towards Houston in that one as well. Buffalo +1, Colorado State -1. Let's take a peek at this one here. Buffalo lost to Ohio, a really good Ohio team. Got blown out. Again, huge step up in competition for Buffalo here. Have Colorado State lost to Utah State, lost to Nevada. That's probably a bad win. Again, would still favor Colorado State here in this one. What was the line? Yeah, -1.5. Big step up in competition for Buffalo there. North Carolina, Greensboro, moving on to the games on March 20th. We have them at +1, Florida State -1. Let me move this over. And if you're watching this video, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have a question about a game, just post it here in the comments. Somebody posted already. Will this be a YouTube video after it's streamed live? Yes, it will. And I will post it after we finish. All right. So let's go to, what was the one we were looking at? North Carolina, Greensboro, Florida State. Yeah, Florida State -10.5. North Carolina, Greensboro, dangerous team as well. You can see here they've won last 8 out of 10 games. Again, huge step up in competition. Florida State, maybe not in great form, lost to UNC, laid an egg at Notre Dame, lost to Georgia Tech. But again, they knew they were in the tournament, so motivation has a lot to do with this. I talked about this earlier, meaning they already knew they were in the tournament. NCAA tournament's hard for them to keep that same type of intensity, motivation, playing the last part of their season into the ACC tournament. And you can look here, UNC Greensboro averaging 73, Florida State, a little bit better offense, UNC with a little bit better defense there as well. And what was our line on this one? 10 points. Yeah, it's probably a game I wouldn't touch considering, power rankings. It is +1, and again, those type games, when in doubt, I would do without. All right, Georgetown, Colorado. Colorado -2. Georgetown, another really, really, really hot team like Oregon State, Oklahoma State. We have Colorado -2 here. And the line is Colorado -5, Georgetown +5. Of course, Georgetown, just went on a tear here. Beat Marquette, Villanova, Seton Hall, Creighton to advance into the tournament. Colorado lost to Oregon State, really close game. USC won there. Cal, I would say, this is one of those that's a tough game. I would definitely lean more towards my power rankings because these teams probably played, very similar competition. Well, wait a minute. I take that back. If our line is -2, what's the sportsbook line? I think it favored. Yeah, I would lean towards, I'm sorry. I would lean towards Georgetown in this one here, getting that +5. Our line is -2. I would generally like to see when I play an underdog, and what I've had success with my power rankings, if I have a team favored via my power rankings, and then they're an underdog at the sports book, that's generally the type of situation or scenario that I will play a money line dog here, where I have Georgetown, the underdog, and they're also the underdog sports books. Now that I think about that, this game would probably be a no play for me, even though there's a little bit of value with Georgetown. Eastern Washington and Kansas. We have Kansas -1 here. Another one of those games where teams moving up in competition. Bill Self, will have his team prepared. Eastern Washington, form-wise are good. Won the last 9 out of 10 games. Huge step up in competition, no doubt. Let's see what the public looks like in this one here. And I'm sort of seeing this for the first time. I would think this line would be about 10. Yep, there it is, 10. Wow, Eastern Washington get the majority of the tickets there. Line is 11.5. So it looks like we might have a little bit of reverse line movement here in favor of. No, take that back. So 11.5. Now it's 10.5. Yeah, I would probably lean towards Kansas in that one, even though our power rankings have Kansas -1. St. Bonaventure. Everybody loves this team right now. -7. Our power rankings, LSU -7. I mean, +7. So we have St. Bonaventure as the favorite here. And I mean, that's crazy that line's that close. You would think it would be. I just think because success they've had here. LSU -1.5. Let's take a look at this one. Obviously, we're going to see some upsets, but and they, St. Bonaventure's. It's not like they're in some, a bad conference. I mean, had a quality win over, VCU, Davidson. What's that? George Washington. Lost to VCU, so they've won 7 of the last 10. Had a bad loss here. I think that's St. Louis. LSU, really close game with Alabama. Yeah, I'm surprised this line is that close because I would think, competition wise, definitely favors LSU. Let's take a look at the lines. LSU averaging 82 points a game. St. Bonaventure 70. St. Bonaventure has a little bit better defense, only giving up 60 points per game. So this will be an interesting matchup. I mean, can they slow LSU down? LSU averaging 82, St. Bonaventure only giving up 60. With that line, I would definitely lean towards LSU in this one. It's like the public's already on that, right? Yep. All right, what's our next one here? UC Santa Barbara, Creighton. We have Creighton at -2.5. If I'm not mistaken, UC Santa Barbara's won they won they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. So they're in excellent form. This probably is a step up in competition for them, but I mean, they've blown some people out. Long Beach State, 95-87, won here. UC Davis, 71-55, beat UC Irvine, 79-63. So definitely playing good basketball. I mean, Creighton lost, got absolutely blown out by Georgetown, unmotivated in that one. I mean, capable of blowing out some teams as well. Beat Butler there, 87-56. Take a look at the numbers. UC Santa Barbara averaging 76, Creighton averaging 77. UC Santa Barbara, a little bit better defense, only giving up 62 points. Creighton averages 68, but then you also have to factor in, Creighton is played a little bit tougher schedule, no doubt. And what was our line again? So we have Creighton favored by 2.5. Line is +7 there. Yeah, that's and you can see there. Well, let's look at the actual ticket split. Yeah, everybody's going with UC Santa Barbara here at 7.5. So obviously in this situation, we would, if I was leaning towards Santa Barbara, I wouldn't, especially if the public is on it. All right, move along. We got Iona. Rick Pitino gets Iona in at -6. Our line, Alabama +6. Huge step up in competition for them here. That's why that line is where it's at. Alabama -16.5. And you talk about a team that can blow somebody out. Alabama can definitely do that. Yeah, Alabama in really good form. Only lost one of their last won 9 out of the last 10. That was the Arkansas. You can see here, beat Mississippi State 85-48. Auburn 70-58. Yeah, I want to, play in Fairfield, Monmouth, Manhattan. So, yeah, Alabama averaging 79 points a game. Iona has a pretty good defense, only giving up 65. Alabama, decent defense there, giving up 69. I would say this definitely favors Alabama, but, at that big of a number to cover that 16, yeah, that's a tough one there. That would probably be a pass for me, no doubt. All right, let's take a look at Mississippi State, St. Louis. This will be a little bit closer. Our power rankings, similar opponents, similar conferences. Mississippi State -1.5, St. Louis +1.5. And actual line is Mississippi State +4.5. St. Louis is the favorite at -4.5. And let's see what kind of form they're in. Mississippi State got blown out by Alabama, did beat UK, lost to Auburn, beat Texas A&M, lost to Alabama there. A little bit more competitive in that one. St. Louis got blown up by St. Bonaventure, beat UMass, Richmond, lost to VCU, Dayton. What was our line again? Yeah, I would definitely lean towards Mississippi State in this one. There's no doubt they played better competition this year. Mississippi State averaging 68 points a game, St. Louis 75, and Mississippi State has a little bit better defense. That's why they're favored via our power rankings. What's the public doing here? Yeah, this is definitely a potential play on the money line. You're fading the public here, only 33% of the tickets. Let's see what the money line is for this one for Mississippi State. Mississippi State plus 165. So yeah, that's definitely a potential money line play there. And the way I process that too, if you're new, haven't watched any of my videos, we have Mississippi State as a small favorite. So that would indicate they have at least a 50% chance of winning. A 50% chance of winning, if you translate that into a money line, that translates into plus 100. What was the line we were getting? Money line plus 155. So that definitely favors Mississippi State there. It's a good money line, potential money line play. Grand Canyon -5, Iowa +5. Our power rankings, again, that's just simply because Grand Canyon has squashed the competition they've played. Although Iowa has been extremely inconsistent here lately. Let's take a look. 8-2 their last 10 games, so not that bad. Lost to Illinois. A couple wins. Maybe I was getting them confused there. Did get blown up by Michigan, beat Ohio State. That's a quality win. Nothing wrong with a loss to Illinois. You look at Grand Canyon, completely different conference. This is a huge step up in competition for Grand Canyon. Look at the stats here. Iowa averaging 77 points a game, giving up 66. Grand Canyon, pretty good defense, giving up 59. But again, when you see, it's like I talked about before, when you're going to see these upsets, it's going to be with these teams that can score, close to 80 points a game. I don't think there's a potential for that in this game, which is why you see the line where it's at plus 15. Grand Canyon -15, Iowa. So this game would probably be a pass for me. Maryland, Connecticut, that's even. Let's see what the sportsbook line is here. Yeah, I can already tell you this would be a potential money line play for Maryland. Lost to Michigan, nothing wrong with that. Penn State, Northwestern, that's probably a bad loss. So not in great form coming into the tournament. Connecticut, very competitive against Creighton. Did have a win against Georgetown. We didn't really think Georgetown was good back on March 6th, but they definitely made it to the tournament. Yeah, it's probably a tough one. I would probably lean towards Maryland. Knew they were, again, a case of, late in the season, knew they were going to be in the tournament, not motivated, but would definitely be motivated come tournament time. Let's see what the public looks like in this one here. Yep. Public's going to be all over Connecticut. It looks like at -2.5. They're going to drive that line up to probably 3. Yeah, already 3 at some books. That's going to probably be, maybe $1.20 money line. Oh, wow. Yeah, 120, 135, depending on where you go. So that would be a potential money line play there in favor of Maryland. All right, almost done here. Ohio to Virginia -2. Now, I have a great example. I've already looked at this game earlier where we talk about a team moving up in competition. Look at their schedule, see if they've played, what happened when they went up in competition. Ohio is a really good team for their conference. You can see here, let's scroll down. What was the line? Hang on, let's check out the line first. Whoops. Yeah, see, that line seems really small to me, just seeing it off the top of my head. Ohio plus 7.5. And look, and that's what's crazy. That line opened at plus 10, all the way down to plus 7.5. That really surprises me a lot that people would jump on Ohio like that. And let me show you why I think this would favor Virginia. If you scroll on here, I thought I saw where Ohio had played. No. Maybe this wasn't a team. Yeah, it's just a huge step up in competition. And granted, Ohio's one of those teams that can score. They're playing Virginia. And Virginia, you're not going to hang 80 points on Virginia. You're just not. Ohio averages 80 points a game. Virginia's known for their defense. Maybe not the best defensive team they had. Certainly not when they won a national championship, but still really good defense. They play this pack line defense. It's they close out on every shot. They have a hand in the face. It's very difficult. And I just think this is a huge step up in competition. I thought I saw where Ohio. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. So you can look here. They played NC State. So this is important. No, that was Virginia. My bad, y'all. My bad. I thought I saw where Ohio had played a decent opponent. Maybe that was back in the earlier in the season. But yeah, huge step up in competition. And even though we have, Virginia -2 our power rankings, I would definitely lean towards Virginia. Again, this really surprises me that it opened at 10 and now it's down to, that still surprises me. Yeah, I would definitely lean towards Virginia here. And you can see, when I'm looking at my power rankings, there's a lot of situational handicapping. Moving up in class definitely matters here, no doubt. And again, if you're going to see an upset, I just don't think it would be in this situation, even though Ohio is in really good form, won 9 of their last 10 games. Don't see it there. All right, couple more games. Missouri -2 over Oklahoma. Our power rankings. Let's see what the actual line is. Mizzou. Yeah. Well, let me check this again. So we have, okay. So this would favor Missouri here. We have Missouri -2. Sportsbook has Missouri +2. Let's check out form coming into the tournament. Bad loss there to Arkansas. Not a bad loss to LSU. Did beat Georgia and Florida. Florida's a decent win there in the tournament. Crushed my Gamecocks back on February the 20th. Oklahoma, really bad form. Lost to Kansas, lost to Texas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. All those teams are in the tournament with the exception of Kansas State, but still you want to see a team winning going into the tournament. So I would definitely follow my power rankings here and lean towards Missouri in this one, contingent upon where the public's at. Yeah, it looks like everybody's going to lean towards Oklahoma in this one. And that line could probably increase. It's +2. And again, there's no value at all playing +2. You might as well take, play this one on the money line. You play no juice and get a little bit of value there, +110. If it moves up to say 3, you might even able to get, +115, +120. And none of these, as I'm giving these out, are official plays, y'all. It's just sort of my thoughts initially looking at these lines. 2 games, Abilene Christian -2.5 over Texas. Texas is 2.5. So sportsbook line has Texas as a favorite -9. Texas, really good form. They beat Oklahoma State. That was huge, right? Texas Tech, TCU beat Oklahoma. So definitely going to be a step up in competition for Abilene Christian. Let's see here. was trying to see if they played. You really haven't played anybody. I mean, they've dominated their competition. They've won 9 out of the last 10. So the team definitely playing with a lot of confidence. They have a pretty good defense, y'all. They're one of those teams that can score a lot of points, averaging 77 points a game. Texas averaging 75. You can see here they're only giving up 60 points per game, so they're not just a run and gun team. They do play defense. Yeah, interesting game here. This is really interesting here, especially what did we say that line was? We saw the money line there at 350. Yeah, +9. And you can see people already leaning towards Abilene. Well, maybe not. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one. So 8.5, 9. Yeah, that's a tough one to handicap there. And then 2, don't forget, when you look at this, when you're handicapping this, I talk about the true ATS. If you're a client of mine, you already know about this. But what I'll do is, if I'm looking at, Texas minus 8.5, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take a look at Texas's last 10 games, and let's see how many times they've covered this 8.5. We'll do it now. So did not cover it there, did not cover it there, covered it there, did not cover it there, covered it there, didn't cover, didn't cover, didn't cover, covered it there, didn't cover. So it looks like majority of the time they did not cover the 8.5. Now, granted, they were playing, quality opponents here, but still something that I take notice. And of course, if you add 8.5 to Abilene Christian, all of their games they would cover, including this loss here at was that Arkansas, Central Arkansas. So yeah, that's a tough one to handicap there. Definitely is, getting a lot of points with a really good team, even though it's a step up in competition. And then finally, our last game here, VCU, Oregon. We have VCU minus 5.5. Always a good defensive team. Oregon plus 5.5. Let's take a look, and VCU is the underdog at plus 5.5. So we definitely have some value there with VCU. And fair to say we have a step up in competition for VCU here. Lost to St. Bonaventure, 65-74. Quality win there over St. Louis, 67-55. That's a bad loss there to, I think that's George Mason. But again, only lost 3 of their last 10 games. They beat St. Bonaventure 67-64. So that was definitely a quality win. You have Oregon, of course, lost to a really hot Oregon State team, and that's it, man. Won last 9 out of 10 games. Yeah, I think this one would be a tough game to handicap. Our line has VCU step up in competition, with that one game, with that one loss. Let's see what the public thinks. It's split. Yeah. Yeah, generally, if I look at a game, and that makes me feel good about my handicapping. If I say, hey, this is a tough game to cap, and I come and look at the line and it's split. So, that's a tough one to handicap. And if you played it on the money line, potential upset here, plus 200, which there's a lot of other games that I like, probably more so than this. If I was going to play a potential upset, this would probably more than likely be a no play, just considering how good Oregon is, and played a lot better competition there. So anyway, that is a complete preview of all the first round games. And if you're a client of mine, you have access to all these lines. And after the first round, we move to the round of 32, the round of 16, the round of 4, and of course the national championship game. If you want access to all of my lines for NCAA tournament, you can do that. There's a link in the description box. It is $29.95 per month. You get access to my NCAA basketball lines that you just saw here. You get all my NBA lines. That's $29.95 per month. You can cancel anytime. You get access with that $29.95. You get access to all my coaching videos for all sports. Talk about how to interpret the power rankings. I add one coaching video at least per week that only clients have access to. So it's a really, I mean, you pay this and you get a ton of value for what you pay for. And then if you want in addition to everything I just mentioned, all my plays, you can get that for $49.95 per month. I send out all my plays via Telegram. And if you want to join for the entire year, which means you get all my power rankings, all my plays for all sports for an entire year, if you add it up, paid it per month, that's going to be $600. It's 50% off if you pay for the entire year, which would be $299. Man, that was a long video, probably one of the longest videos. I enjoy doing that, and I greatly, greatly appreciate those of you that have joined me live here, sticking through this the entire time. I'm super excited. Again, I think just sort of recap, you really have to look at the tournament from a macro perspective. I mean, if you look at my power rankings, the team's favored. We can't just go with that assumption. We have to look up, is this team moving up in class? Have they played a similar opponent? I would even go back to November. Maybe one of these teams in these smaller conferences played a team from the SEC. Maybe they were competitive. I would definitely factor all that. Don't forget about coaching. That matters. A coach has never been to the tournament. It's going to be a disadvantage to a coach that has been there before, like Bob Huggins, Izzo, those type coaches. That definitely favors the seasoned coach. And as always, if your client, you got any questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram, Telegram, or an email, mg@mgcovers.com. Hope everybody has a great night and a profitable tournament, and we will talk to you guys soon. Peace.